Hello, travelers. Welcome back to Show and Tell with Reach the World. For over 20 years, Reach the World has used virtual exchange to inspire youth to become curious, confident global citizens. My name is Tim, and as part of Reach the World's efforts to support educators and families during the COVID-19 pandemic, we are sharing free live stream show and tell events with members of our global community. You can find an updated calendar of live stream events and much more at athome.reachtheworld.org. So for today's show and tell, I'm very excited to welcome Taylor Wichendahl. Taylor is a Fulbright English teaching assistant who recently participated in a Reach the World virtual exchange in which she shared her experiences living in Poland. And during her time in Poland, she developed a particular interest in Christmas markets around Europe. And that's what she's going to tell us about today. So to our live stream viewers, please be sure to let us know you're here and share any questions for Taylor using the YouTube chat bar on the right-hand side of your screen. We'll get to as many questions as we can, but before we get into questions, I want to welcome Taylor to Show and Tell.
Hi, thank you so much for having me. I'm going to go ahead and share my screen now. Is that good?
That sounds great, yeah.
All right, great. So I'll share this and you guys will be able to see. Hopefully, can you see it?
Looks great.
All right, awesome. So I'm going to tell you guys a little bit about Christmas markets and also an awesome New Year's Eve festival that I got to go to. I went to many different countries and we're going to talk about them. But first, I'm going to tell you what a Christmas market is. So we don't really have these as much in America. You might see them sometimes, but they are these awesome markets with tons of different people, artists, local people selling things, people with food, all sorts of that stuff, all in this one spot. And you go and you get to try different foods, you get to buy different things. And it's a really big cultural tradition in Europe. It happens in most European countries. And it's free to go. You just have to buy the stuff if you want. And there's lots of different ones all over the place. So when I went to Europe and lived there I lived in Poland for 6 months, I wanted to take my Christmas time to go and do this. It's usually December through parts of January sometimes. So let's talk about my journey. I started in Warsaw, Poland, which is just near Lublin where I lived. So I lived in Lublin. And so Warsaw is just near there. And so then I went to Vienna, Salzburg, Munich, and Zurich. And so we'll go through and look at pictures of those different places. So let's go ahead and start with Vienna. We'll start with Warsaw. So Warsaw has a little old town that was built just after World War II. It was rebuilt. So before all of our parents were born. So nice and old. And this area they fill with an ice skating rink, giant Christmas trees, different shopping things, and hot chocolate. So right here you can see this is the outside of the ice skating rink, and it's also got some food stalls. And then it says Merry Christmas in Polish on this little thing here. And you can see this is another one. This is where you get to do the shopping. And so they've got gloves, hats, jewelry, all sorts of stuff. And this is a really popular picture spot. You can see lots of people stopping to take pictures here. This is a giant Christmas tree. That building is a castle and it's 3 stories tall, so 3 floors tall. And the Christmas tree is taller than that. So it's a big, big Christmas tree. And this is in the center of the town square. And then they have a second Christmas tree decorated and it's a little bit smaller. And this one's right next to the ice skating rink, which is here. Lots of people go ice skating. I didn't go ice skating because I'm very clumsy. And so I probably would have fallen and I probably would have broken something. So I didn't go ice skating, but you can see here, there's lots of fun things to do at the Warsaw Christmas market. You can eat, you can shop, you can go ice skating. And lots of the food that I ate. I love chocolate covered strawberries. You're gonna see at most of these places that I went to, chocolate covered strawberries. And this is the Warsaw example. So this is a stall where they had Oreos, they had cake, they had bananas, all sorts of different fruit covered in chocolate. I went with strawberries that you can see right here. Next, I headed to Vienna. So let's go there. Can you guys see me still?
Yeah, we can see
See
you.
my picture. Okay, so this is a postcard that I sent myself from Vienna. So let's head there. This is one of the Vienna Christmas markets. Vienna has over 10 Christmas markets in one city, which was super exciting for me. That's why I picked to go there first, so that I could get to see as many of the Christmas markets as possible. Vienna, most of their Christmas markets close on like December 31st. Some of them close on Christmas Day. So I was here on Christmas Eve and Christmas Day and the day before Christmas Eve. So December 23rd, 24th, and 25th. So I got to see lots of Christmas markets. I saw this one. This one isn't the biggest one, believe it or not, but it's close. And so it's right under a museum that you can see in the background. That's a really big, fancy museum, right? Not a lot of our museums in America look that fancy. And then you can see that's just one shop underneath. And it's huge with all sorts of different ornaments being sold. And then it says Vienna Christmas Market in German because they speak German in Austria. It's a little bit different than the German that you might hear in Germany, but it's that. This is another one. So this one was the biggest one. This one was my favorite one. And it's really, really pretty. So they have the Christmas market here, and then right to the side of it is a park decorated with lights that you can kind of see with these trees. It's right behind there. And so it's a park full of different lights experiences that you can walk through, or kids can ride a little like choo-choo train through it. And so it's a cute little thing. You can see all of these things down here. That's all people. It's super crowded. There's lots of awesome things to buy here. This is another one. This is outside of one of their castles. Vienna had so many castles in it, lots of different royal palaces and castles. And so this is outside of one of those. So you can go inside the castle to look at the museum and the pictures, and then you can go outside for a Christmas market. This is one of the only pictures I have of Christmas markets during the day because I went to most of them at night. I think they look so much prettier at night with all the lights lit up. So I usually spent my nights there, but this is one during the day. And you can see they still have the lights on, and you can see the stalls. And then there are these little tables on the inside of them, like in the middle, where you can stop and eat your food standing up. There's not really a lot of chairs or places to sit down to eat the market food that you get. You usually eat it just standing up. These are examples of what the stalls close up look like. And these look pretty much the same at every Christmas market you go to in pretty much every country. There's just a bunch of different things sold, lots of bright colors, lots of things that catch your eye and that you're gonna stop and wanna look at. So these ones are ornaments, which was really popular. I didn't buy any ornaments because I was worried about breaking them in my suitcase, but you can totally get lots of different ornaments and other things. And I'll show you some of the things that I picked up along the way. There's also lots of artists that are here. And so they're doing different types of art and things that you can pick up. Food, the best part, right? So more chocolate covered strawberries. You can see there are chocolate fountains behind my strawberries. So you could pick different things. They had Oreos, they had bananas, they had little pancakes, they had all sorts of stuff. And you could pick what you wanted and they would cover it in chocolate for you. And it was amazing. So I actually got it 2 nights in a row. So I got milk chocolate one night and white chocolate the next. And then we have something similar to a hot dog. It's like a sausage, but it's thicker. It's like maybe the size of a quarter, a little bit bigger than a quarter probably. And it's inside like what we would call maybe like a baguette. And so there's a hole in it and it goes in there and they pump like ketchup or whatever you wanted inside that. And they stick the hot dog in there and you eat it like all in one bite. And it's very, very good, but it's huge. So I couldn't really finish it. They're very big. And these are just, again, like street foods that you just grab and you eat while you're walking around, or you eat at one of those stand-up tables. My little souvenir that I got was a picture of this really big cathedral. So it's like a lino cut type is what they call it, a print that they made of this huge cathedral in the center of Vienna. And so that was one of my favorite places. So I picked that as my souvenir. All right, so next we're gonna head to Salzburg. So Salzburg is it's a little bit smaller of a city, but it's really beautiful. And it's actually, if you've ever seen Sound of Music, you might not have seen it, but if you've ever seen Sound of Music, it's an older movie, but it's based on this family that lived here in Salzburg, and then they went back and filmed the movie in Salzburg. So you can see lots of cool things there about that. All right, so Salzburg was different from Vienna in the sense that they had these little alleyways like this one. They would be decorated Christmassy, and so you would follow the alleyways, and there would be just in a little courtyard 5 or 6 little stalls. So they had one big Christmas market that I'll show you in a second, but lots of these little smaller Advent markets that popped up in the alleys of the city center. And that was really fun and exciting because you could walk through and just one would suddenly appear. And that was like a little scavenger hunt. So this was a really beautiful alley that I found and liked. This is the big one. So it says welcome in German, and then it also says it in English and I think Spanish as well at the bottom there. So this is one of the Christmas markets. You can see a really tall tree, right? This is the big one that they have in Salzburg. Another side of decorations. This tree was actually planted like in the ground, like it grew in the ground. It wasn't brought there like you saw in the ones in Warsaw and lots of the other ones. So I thought that was really interesting. You can see some, this is like a monastery in the background. And lots of decorations and more market stalls there. This was the best dessert that I had, again, covered in chocolate. These are like fluffy pancake bread covered in chocolate and brown sugar and powdered sugar too. And that was really delicious, but I couldn't finish it all. And then I also got a really big pretzel with a lot of cream cheese on it. They kept scooping the cream cheese on and I was like, so much, but it was very messy. As a souvenir there, I got my uncle, he doesn't know I got this for him yet, so he's not watching thankfully, but you guys can keep my secret. I got him he collects Santas, like little Santas. So I got him this little Santa figurine. And it's got him holding like a little bag and some Christmas trees. And so I got this for him as a nice little gift to add to his collection because he doesn't have any from Europe yet. So I think that will be a cool gift. But yeah, the markets were really cool in Salzburg and Vienna. So Austria was great. Next, I went to Munich. So Munich was beautiful. I got to Munich 2 days after Christmas on the 27th. And so most of their markets were closed except for one. It's like a year-round market, but around Christmas time, they had like some extra little Christmassy things there that were going to go on until the end of December. So I got to see that. And so it's more of a winter market, this one. I didn't get to see their big Christmas market, but this is more of a winter market. So they have lots of stalls from restaurants and fun things to see there, but also a few Christmas themed shopping things. You can see a little bit of their decorations are still up because again, this was like the last 2 or 3 days of it. I also got the chance to go to this really small village, and I'm going to try my very best to say it correctly. Oberammergau. They say it much quicker and much better. I do not speak German, but this is a very cute little village that to me I was like, oh my gosh, this is like old school Europe. And it looked really cute. All the buildings looked like this with all these decorations on them. It's really beautiful. And I got this little carving from there. And this village is actually really famous around the world. A lot of people don't know that it's this village, but they put on a passion play every 10 years. So everyone in the village participates, and you have to either be born in the village or have lived there for 20 years in order to be a character in the play. And people come from all over the world to see this play. It's really expensive to go. And it was supposed to be this year, but they've canceled it. So hopefully they'll get a chance to redo it next year, or they'll have to wait 10 more years. I don't know. We'll see. But yeah, so Munich was really great. I didn't eat at the winter market, so I didn't include pictures of the food from Munich, but it was very good when I did eat at other places. All right, and the last place I went to is Zurich. So Zurich was where I went for New Year's. So I took a train actually to Zurich, and I got there the day before New Year's Eve. And I got to go on New Year's Eve to this really awesome fireworks display and New Year's Eve festival they had. It's basically just like a Christmas market, but without the Christmas shopping. It's just mostly food. And what you do is you go and you stand on this bridge. So it's, I'm standing on the bridge in the second picture, and you can see the water, but it's this bridge right here. So it's a really big bridge. So you go and you stand on the bridge, and a little while after midnight, they do this huge fireworks display. They have big boats out in the water that are letting the fireworks off. It was also really cool because people were in small boats and kayaks in the water, like just watching the fireworks. And I was like, oh my gosh, like that's very close to the fireworks. But it was really cool to see this huge display of fireworks up close. It's almost like the Macy's fireworks display in Times Square that we have on TV here in America. It was like that, but in person. And so it was very cool to see. It was very cold, and I got back to my hotel and immediately put my feet in hot water because I was so chilly. But overall, it was very, very cool. I picked as my souvenir this little print of a church. It's called Wasserkirche. It just means like church on the water. And so it's a church on the water near that same bridge that I was standing on. And this church is over 800 years old. So it's a really, really old church. I got to go inside. I actually went and took a tour of all of the different churches in Zurich, which was pretty cool to see all of these different churches. They have a lot of churches in Zurich. And the last one, food again. So here I ate something at the Christmas market, which is at the New Year's market, which is the chocolate covered strawberries again. But before I went and got cheese fondue, because fondue is super Swiss. And so I was like, I'm going to go and get some cheese fondue. And I had that with bread and potatoes. It was very good, but I burnt my tongue because I was impatient. But it was really delicious to try that. I also, the white bag in the background of the fondue is Swiss chocolate, because I went and bought some Swiss chocolate as well. And that was also very, very good. It's all gone. I ate it very quickly. So at the end, I headed back to Lublin, where I lived. And that was the end of my journey in Europe at all these different cool Christmas markets.
Yeah, wow, very cool. What a journey. Can we take you out of screen share so we can see the postcards and your souvenirs a little bit bigger? They were in a really tiny window before, and now we can see you full size.
All right, so we have, this is the Vienna postcard. I did this from every country that I went to in Europe. I mailed a postcard, like I put the dates that I was there, and I said that I loved my mom and my dad and my dog at the bottom. And so I mailed one home every country I was in. So this is the one from Vienna. This is the print of St. Stephen's Cathedral. This is the one from Salzburg. And this one has like really big Christmas tree stamps on it. They're huge. This is the Santa for my uncle. This is the Munich postcard. Picked this one because it was a nice snowy winter. And this is the little like carving thing that I got in the tiny little village. We stopped at the village on the way to a castle. It was the castle that Walt Disney was inspired by to build his castle. And then Zurich with the bridge. And then this is the church, the really old church that I liked. Got the print from. And then this is just where I lived in Poland, in Lublin, in the east.
All right, great.
And so those are all my souvenirs.
What a good set of memories from a really amazing trip. You touched on this just a bit, but I'm wondering how you got from place to place. It didn't look like those cities were especially far apart. How did you get to see so many places over such a short period of time?
So first I took a train from Lublin to Warsaw, which is about 3 hours. Then I took a short flight, maybe 2 hours, to Vienna. And then from Vienna, I took a train to Salzburg, maybe 4 hours. And then another train to Munich, probably about the same. And then I think it was like 9 hours, maybe a little bit less, to Zurich. And then I took a flight for about 3 hours back to Warsaw, and then a train. So trains and planes.
Yeah, I'd say you covered a lot of modes of transportation.
Yes, there was even a bus involved to the castle at one point. So all of them.
And it looked like a lot of walking in between.
Yeah. I have like, an iPhone. So I had the little step count every day, over 20 to 30,000 steps every day. Tons of walking.
I can imagine. We have a great live stream audience right now, and I really want to encourage anybody who's watching, please share your questions for Taylor in the comment bar, and I'll pass them right along to Taylor. And until you do, I have lots of questions for Taylor. It looked like such a great experience. It looked like there were some common things in each of these Christmas markets. I'm wondering if there were any things that were really unique to a particular market, or are they, or do you find just slight variations between markets and cities?
There's like slight variations, of course. I found that in Poland, like in Warsaw, I didn't really see like a lot of these like little Santa things, but these Santa things were super popular at the Salzburg market. Like I didn't really see a lot of them. I saw some in Vienna, but I saw a lot more in Salzburg. Like these were really popular there. Ornaments were really big at Vienna's market. Warsaw's market was more like hats, gloves, scarves, jewelry, those sorts of things, with some toys, a couple of things like that. So each market had like a different chunk of things. Vienna, I think, as a city is really unique because they have different markets with like almost themes at some points. So like there was one market that was specifically dedicated to local artists selling different things. And so I don't have it with me because I didn't want to take it back from my mom, but I got my mom like a picture of a woman carved out of her birth tree. Like everyone has like a tree for the month that they were born in. And so it was carved out of her tree. And so she has that. But I did get her that. And that was like at that local artisan market. So like Vienna had lots of different types of markets. So I thought that was unique. I didn't see that in Salzburg. Yeah.
It sounds like shopping, maybe for Christmas presents, is a big activity in Christmas markets. What is, you mentioned the cool carving out of your birth tree. Are there any other items you saw that were particularly unique or unexpected?
I think the carving of the birth tree was really cool. I really saw that to be unique. For me, I also liked like the different paintings and stuff. There were a couple of ones like this. Like I got this at the big Christmas market. I really liked the photographers too. There were some photographers that were there that took really unique and beautiful pictures of the city. You can take good pictures yourself, sure, but they look like these photographers live in the city and they find really beautiful things. And then I just really also enjoyed the ones where the people were actually there making the things, because that happened at like the artisan ones. Like you could see them painting the ornaments, you could see them carving things, and that was really cool to see.
Very cool. I'm wondering what you felt like you learned, or what was the real advantage of visiting a city while the Christmas market was up? What sort of special addition did that give you to that visit?
I think it just like it brought me a lot of joy. Like I was living alone in Poland, which I had friends and things there, but like I was away from my family at Christmas time, right? And so I didn't want to spend it. Like I wanted to have that Christmas spirit and that Christmas joy. And this 100% gave it to me. You walked into the market and you could just feel it. Everyone else around you was buzzing with energy and joy and spirit. You really can feel it in the air. And so that was an awesome, cool thing that really like, I didn't feel sad missing Christmas. Like on Christmas Day, like I didn't really feel sad. I was excited to be exploring things. Like the picture of me in the alleyway at the Advent market, that was taken on Christmas Day. Like I wasn't sad. I was having a great time. And so it really helped bring that Christmas joy and spirit that you get from being with your family. It helped bring that to me by myself. It was awesome.
Great. Yeah, one more shout out to our students on live stream. I know you're there. I can see you're there. Give us a question in the chat bar. We'd love to pass it along to Taylor, and we can certainly pass it to her after the fact too. But here's a good chance to ask her questions about Christmas markets.
Christmas markets, New Year's, Poland, all the things.
Yeah. Do you want to tell us just a little bit about why you were in Poland to begin with?
Yeah. So this might resonate with some people. I had actually only left the country once before I decided to move to Europe. So in 2017, I left the country for the first time. on a study abroad trip for 10 days. And so I had only been out of even my time zone. I'm on the East Coast. I had never even left the East Coast. And so to move to Europe with only leaving the East Coast once in your life is like, what are you doing? But I went for 10 days on a study abroad trip, and I loved Poland. I fell in love with it I was in Poland for probably about 5 of those 10 days. And I went to Warsaw and Krakow. I loved it. I thought it was beautiful. And so when the opportunity came, when I found out about the Fulbright program, I was like, sure, why not? And you get to pick a country where you want to apply to. And so I was like, Poland. Like, it just was the first country that came to mind. I felt connected to the country. I wanted to learn more about it. And so I decided to move there. So it's possible to do these things if you've never done them before. When I was your age, I'd never done them before. My parents came and visited me. That was their first time leaving America. My sisters have never left America. Like, it's done. We just haven't done it. And so if you've never done it, it's still possible to at one point do it. And it's worth it. So you should.
Very cool. And I love it that you sort of started there and then really went on this amazing adventure across Central Europe, exploring what is really a really special tradition for that part of the world.
It's really cool, and it's very unique, and it's something that I wish we did here more. Like, you might find a little Christmas festival in a big city for like a day or two, but nothing that lasts a month or 3 weeks and is a huge thing that people come from all over the continent to see. And that's super cool.
Was there a lot of music at the Christmas festivals?
Yeah, there was always like music playing over the speakers, but then at like some of the bigger ones, they would have musicians doing it. So like Vienna, the big one that I went to, the very big one, that one, they had some like live musicians, like a live band playing on a stage. And that was super cool because you just like walk up and you're like, whoa. And you get to watch them, people crowd around and do that, and they eat their food right there listening to music. And so there was always music playing over the stereo, but live music popping around too.
You talked a lot about food. I know on top of shopping and decorations and music, food is really a central part of a good Christmas market. Yes. And if I took chocolate covered strawberries off the table, what was the best, very, very best thing that you ate or smelled or saw?
I'm super into chocolate. So the pancake thing that I had in Salzburg was very good. It was like these really thick pancakey type things, the dough. It wasn't like, it's almost like undercooked dough in a way, but like in a good way. And it was covered in like Nutella and that. But I also had something that is similar to macaroni and cheese. It's not mac and cheese. It's actually like little dumplings. And they're like really small. I should have put a picture in there, but I had that in Vienna and that was pretty good. It had like crunchy onions on top too. We have something similar in Poland as well. It's like a little dumpling thing, and I can't remember what it is called. I think it's like, I can't say it in German. It's like Spatzele, Spatvle, something like that. But it's like little dumplings, but it tastes like mac and cheese. That was super good.
Yeah, you're making me hungry.
I know, just go to Austria.
You mentioned, as one more food thing, you mentioned when you made it to Switzerland, you had fondue. And for students who have never tried fondue, can you explain just the idea behind fondue?
Yeah, so they bring you this like flame. It's literally like a little Bunsen burner, like a flame thing like you would use in science class. And they put a pot on top of it on a little stand. And inside they put cheese. Sometimes they put different, like they'll put maybe herbs or seasoning, beer or wine. And they put it in there, sometimes maybe some oil or something, and they turn the flame on and it melts all around there. And then you get to dip this like melted cheese. You get to dip stuff in melted cheese. And it's really, 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 really good.
Yum.
It's hot though, so ouch.
What sort of things do you dip into a fondue?
I chose bread and potatoes, but there were other options. Like you could do some meats. You could also do like vegetables and things like that. So they had other choices, but I chose bread and potatoes.
Yum, sounds delicious. We have a bunch of students who are letting us know that they're here in the live chat, but not quite ready to ask a question. So
that's okay.
I'll have to ask our final question that we ask all of our participants. And I know that you're back home in the US now and probably stuck at home like the rest of us. Now that you've got this bug for traveling and seeing the world. Where are you going to go next?
Oh boy. So next I'm moving back to Washington, D.C. I'm teaching kindergarten through third graders in special education. But I'll be dreaming about my sister and I, she was supposed to come visit me actually 2 days before I had to leave the country. So she had to cancel her trip because things started to get bad in the middle of March. So we are planning to go to Ireland, England, and Paris. That's where we're going to go. So we don't know when. We're waiting for things to calm down, but that'll be next on the horizon.
Oh, fantastic. It sounds like a great adventure.
Yes.
I really want to thank you for joining us today and telling us about Christmas markets in Europe.
Yeah.
It was really, really fun. If you're like me and it's a beautiful sunny day outside, it was just like a nice warm retreat to the coziness of Christmas. So it was a lot of fun talking to you today, Taylor. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you
Thanks
for
to
having me.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you to our entire YouTube live stream audience for joining us today too. It was great to have you. You can join us again for any of our upcoming live stream events this week and next week. There's a complete listing at athome.reachtheworld.org. So until then, we'll see you next time.